Okay, the last few episodes I've been saying podcast instead of Cosmic Ocean. Whatever. This is the Cosmic Ocean.
Cosmic Ocean.
My name is Nayeli.
And I'm Fatima.
And you can follow us on all platforms, most platforms, all platforms, TikTok and Instagram, Hija del Maíz with an E. And then the Nay_area. We also have the YouTube, so go ahead and go to that YouTube where we upload the Cosmic Ocean podcast. And it's in my link tree, it's in my bio, so that way it's easier for you guys. Anyways, welcome. Before we start, here in Colorado, we reside on the unceded land of the Cheyenne and Arapaho peoples, amongst many, many other peoples. We are on stolen land, and we have to acknowledge that. So, what are we talking about today?
Oh my gosh, so I was looking through mine. I got my Spotify top 100 top songs.
Uh-huh. Why do you look at me like that?
Times. It's because I like to do our little chatter before we start, and then we can go into our religion.
Okay.
We're doing religion, right?
Well, question, and we'll leave this on the podcast. Question. Do you guys want the little chatter, or do you want us to go straight into the podcast?
No, times. That's not even a question.
Why not?
Because this is our podcast, and this is how our little chatter.
You like the chatter. I don't like the chatter.
You don't like the chatter?
So we're at a crossroads.
You don't like the chatter?
I don't like the chatter.
Fine.
I don't like the chatter.
Fine. No chatter.
And then, no.
Fine.
And then two, yes, we're doing this. It's ours, but we're doing this as a team. You know, it's all of us.
Fine, guys. Let's vote. I like the chatter.
I don't like the chatter. So, yeah, let's vote. Lola, do you like the chatter? No chatter.
Chatter.
Thank you.
The chatter? Okay, today we'll do the chatter. Chatter.
Well, thank you. You just ruined my vibe.
Dead ass.
I'm just kidding. You don't like the chatter?
Mm-mm.
Why?
I don't know. I don't do
I
chatter.
Just like
I never do chatter.
That's true. I just like to smooth into the talks. Naili just goes for it.
Yeah.
Anyway. I was just telling the girls that. So my top number one song was Rauw Alejandro. Me gusta todo de ti. Es que me gusta todo de ti.
It doesn't even do it con ganas because it doesn't even sound like the song.
Es because I don't know the little tonito. Me gusta todo de ti. De mi latido. And then
Get it, girl.
Aceleraste mi latido.
Mom, you just repeated the lyric.
And then Lola. So see, that is such a bad it was, I think in the beginning of the year, my number one song.
Yeah.
But by the end it wasn't my number one song.
No, it wasn't.
I feel like I just changed a lot during this whole year. Because I started listening to reggaeton and I ended up just listening to rock. And Espanol and English.
Yeah. Why?
But I feel like I don't really listen to reggaeton anymore. And of course my number one artist, Bad Bunny. But then I don't even listen to Bad Bunny that much either. Because I got mad at him.
Why?
Because of his ticket sale fiasco.
But then, is it him or is it the Ticketmaster?
Yeah, with all the Taylor Swift stuff that was going on too about the Ticketmaster, I was looking into it and I was telling you about it, how people, what band was it? Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. You were telling me that. Yeah,
tried in the 1990s to boycott Ticketmaster and they couldn't.
Yeah, and they ended up having to pay them.
They couldn't because... So they boycotted Ticketmaster, did all this stuff, and they ended up losing so much money on their tour. They couldn't get tour dates. They didn't get their tour sold. It was a shit show. So basically, and they even sued Ticketmaster, and they lost.
Damn.
So Ticketmaster is a monopoly, and nobody can do anything about it.
Damn.
So I'm sorry, Bad Bunny, I forgive you. It was Ticketmaster. Making it clear. Aclarando todo.
I think that the Spotify Wrapped thing is really cool because you get to see your growth and you get to see it just tracks you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so then I think it would be really cool to have that in different contexts. I don't know, and anything else.
How many hours did you meditate?
Or did you sleep? Or did you feel anxious? Or But then even when you think about that, it gets a little scary because then you're like, okay, but what would I need to have that tracked? And then we get into those like scary movies, those sci-fi movies where I was watching this movie with Emma Watson. I don't know if is that her name? Emma Watson from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was that they had these, I don't know if it was like bracelets or something. I don't even know what it's called. It was like 2-3 years ago that I watched this. And, but the point is that this little bracelet tracked everything and then it turned into a camera. So she had and then everything. So, you know, like the little Apple things?
Yeah, the tracker
like the tags.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't
Imagine
like
the
those.
tags, but with cameras everywhere.
Ooh.
And that she wasn't allowed to take it off.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
hell
but
no.
it tracked everything. But then it's like, be careful what you wish for because now.
I know. I don't like those trackers personally at all.
Trackers for what?
The Apple trackers. That is
I
such a violation of privacy, I think. Like they can, like Apple tracks everything. Like I don't know. I personally would not use them.
Right. So see, then it's like, okay, that would be really cool, but then we get into your privacy. Then we get into, but then how? So then it's like, okay, let's take a few steps back. Why does it have to be technology? You have a journal.
Right, you can journal.
You have to go back, and you may have to count it all, and that sucks. But the journal, and that's why I like my journals because I can go back to them.
Ooh, how many years worth of journals do you have? Or how many years worth?
5.
Of journals?
I'm on my 5th.
Damn, 5 years?
Yeah.
Damn.
Since I was 17.
Damn.
5 years.
Oh, damn.
damn.
That is so
Okay.
cute. Oh my God, your 17 self to now?
Oh my God, when I look at that journal, I want to cry.
Huh? Is it the yellow one?
I don't have a yellow one, girlfriend.
It says like honey or something on it.
No, I don't have. What? I don't have that.
Oh.
I don't have a yellow one that says honey.
Sugar pie.
Which one's the 17 one?
You know that.
It's the one, it's like a small one,
Oh.
maybe the size of my hand. Huh?
It's not yellow?
No, and it's like brown, and it's leather. Or faux leather, or whatever. Faux?
Faux leather.
No.
No?
Faux.
Faux. Fake.
Fake. I don't, what the fuck? You're confusing me.
What are,
Anyways,
so what are are you going to share your top or you don't want to share?
my top?
Your top song. Or you don't have to.
My top song, which is my top song is Acálame.
That one,
Tessa.
I don't even think let me add it to I don't even think I've ever heard it.
I love that song.
What is
I
it?
didn't think I listened to it that much.
What is it?
Acálame.
Acálame?
A-C-I-C and then
Acálame. A-C.
Acálame?
A-C-I-C.
I-C. What is this? Is it Acálame?
Acicálame.
Oh yeah, Acicálame. Yeah,
Okay.
Acicálame. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it?
I was just going to add it because I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, Acicálame. Stay in my lane. I don't know how it goes. You know that song. Stay in my lane. I got tree in the back if you into that. I got tree in the back if you into that. Yeah, the tree one. I don't remember. What else? But yeah.
I just remember my number one song.
So why are we talking about that? Like, why did you want to bring that up?
That was just our segue.
Okay, so now segue it. How does it match with our topic?
The pressure. God. You're supposed to make it a little smoother, but
Me? You're the one that wanted chatter about music to now go into religion. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Anyways.
Oh my God. So, like all this colonization. All this technology, it just leads. No, just kidding.
So, yeah, my first journal. My 17-year-old journal. Oh my God. At that point, I'm 17 years old.
Senior in high school? Or still junior?
I think senior in high school, about to be a senior. Or about to be 18. So like the beginning, the first year
Okay. Ooh, that was a rough period.
It was. Technically, I got it junior year, but I didn't use it until senior year. Anyways, I was in a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm. What was a Catholic Jesuit?
A Catholic Jesuit, so a lot more open, a lot more understanding. I wanted to go to Georgetown. I had just gotten back from Georgetown. And that really rocked my world because it was the first time that I was introduced to critical race theory. Or it was just such a culture shock too, because I was always surrounded by Catholic Mexicans. Like, honestly, let's just, like, that's exactly what I was around.
Because her school was primarily Latinos.
Yeah.
And not even just Latinos,
Mexican, yeah. And so when I went to Georgetown, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of other people of color from different cultures, but also, and it was our group, our class, or my seminar, or whatever, I don't know what the fuck, in the middle of all these white people. That was the first time that I was so, like...
Was that like when you realized you're brown?
Yeah, that was the first time. And then I came back and I had to fucking go back to my normal, but I didn't feel normal. And I was like, wait, I remember it was like going into that space unlocked because too, we talked about it. And that was the first time that we ever talked about it. But that was, it like unlocked all these moments of me sitting in front of like the TV wishing I had blonde hair and white skin.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I was talking to my fucking college counselor about it, because she wanted me to write, she wanted me to be vulnerable and to write, give a sad story for my colleges and stuff. And when I wrote about that, it wasn't enough for her, and it was just so weird. Anyways, yeah, it was super insane. And to my summer cohort, they were also Jesuit, or they were also like religious, and they came from religious schools. But it wasn't at Georgetown. It wasn't like prominent. We never talked about it. Actually. But yeah, so that was 17-year-old me. I was in the middle of all that, having my identity crisis, trying to figure out what I believed in when it came to religion, because I had grown up. I had a summer where it was like non-existent, and now it was like I'm more than my religion, which was really weird to me. And then you also were like burning sage during that time, and you started being more open about it. I think because Dad wasn't there.
It was when he left, and then we started doing art. But I think that
you started doing it.
I started doing it.
What were you doing that opened up that space?
I don't know. I think it just gave me the space because he was gone. It allowed me to be me and to practice what I wanted to practice without judgment. So I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because I always did it, but really under the table or hidden, or I wouldn't do it as much because of judgment.
Yeah.
Like I would always go see my brujos, and like sometimes he'd go, sometimes he wouldn't, but it was like very, hidden, very.
Yeah. So you were being more open about it. I was just having a whole identity crisis. Senior year was pretty hard, actually. Now that I think
it was a rough year.
Yeah, but I never really gave myself the space or the acknowledgement to be like, oh, this is a hard year. I have a lot to process. I have a lot to go through. I was just like going through it.
And then I think what didn't help, or what was hard, is like I grew up and you grew up in such a strict, I specifically grew up in such a strict Catholic home, like super strict, because my parents are super religious, that for us it was super.
Who's for us? Like you and your.
For me and my siblings, it was like super. You walk this way, and you have to. And my mom, my dad's a deacon, and my mom worked in the church, so we were like, we grew up in the church. We would, go to mass on Sundays, but then they would have retreats on the weekends. We would have like Bible study on Monday, and then the retreat people would meet once a week, and then we would have choir, and then we would have altar server meetings. So we were always in the church, like literally every single day. And then as I got older, my mom would leave me more with the kids, with my siblings, and then they would go. And so I remember, for me, I had many breaks, but I think my big first break from the church was when I got pregnant, because then you can see oh my God, you got pregnant. but then, oh my God, you have to keep the baby, you know? So it was like, which wasn't an issue, right? But just like the...
Whoa.
No.
Who said it was an issue? Let's start there.
But like the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy of like, oh my God, keep the baby, but oh my God, you got pregnant, right? So just that hypocrisy of the way they looked at me as a teen, as a teen, a pregnant,
the community.
Yeah, the community, teen pregnant, being teen and pregnant.
Teen.
A pregnant teen. So that was a huge break. And then just growing, just bringing Nayeli into the world, and then just having her as a teenager, and just like all the judgment I got from the whole community. So that was one of my big breaks.
Wait, do people know that you had me as a teenager? I don't think you've ever talked about or like made that
did we know
explicitly have said I had her as a teenager.
Oh my gosh.
I really don't think so. Anyways, continue.
See, you think I never talked about it? So I got pregnant with Nayeli when I was in high school. So I was like a junior, and I had her when I was a senior. And so I remember I was a senior in high school, and I remember I had her a little bit or around spring break, so I was able to take like spring break off, and I took 2 weeks.
Hold on, I think it was really interesting that we started with me at that same age,
age.
But you were doing that, but you had a child.
I got pregnant. I know, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That was a good segue. And then, so I finished high school. When I graduated, Nayeli was 4 months old.
Damn.
No,
I was like 2.
April. Maybe. She was 2 months old.
Yeah. Damn.
March, April, May. So March, April, May. Yeah, 3 months. June. So she was 3 months old. So then for me, it was the loss of the community, the loss of my, like, because they were, you know, they were our family.
Yeah.
So losing them, and then I think one of the big things is I went to this teen clinic that we had in Brighton, and one of the church community members worked there. She was this younger girl, and she was like the receptionist. So she saw me, she found out, and she went and told her mom, and that's how the rumor was spread. Like before I even told my mom. So then that was a huge blow, because it's like, damn, you couldn't have even waited. You couldn't have talked to me about it. You just went over there like the chismosa. Which, of course, come on, it was huge gossip.
And you were from a small town.
Yes, this is huge chisme. The deacon's daughter and the mom and the daughter of the lady who runs the freaking direct Hispanic ministry in Brighton is pregnant. Oh, of course it was huge chisme.
That's like a movie.
I know. So it sucked.
I'm so sorry. Trauma for days.
Damn. But then, yes, I don't even remember. But you know what was really cool? I just remember one of the priests, that he was a deacon at that time, and he was just really really accepting, and so he didn't like reject, he didn't judge. And I remember he would like take us all these places, and he would like take us down to see like we went to the Parade of Lights, and like with me and my family. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, so there's always the good and the bad, right? Because I think in itself, religion, the church is the church, right? It's the people, it's the structures, the people in it. But then the religion is the spirituality, it's the faith, it's the...
Well, I was reading this book on Ifa, and they explained it as, which I thought I resonated with that, that religion is the community.
Okay.
Religion is like that structured.
Mm-hmm.
This is the dogma. Mm-hmm. This is like the rituals. This is something with a lot more structure and community. Whereas spirituality is just individualized. It's very you and whatever you make of it. Mm-hmm. It's a very intimate, sacred. Not that the religion part isn't, right? But like Ifa is both religion and spirituality, because we practice it on our own. We have our own relationship with it, as well as our, and I mean, Catholicism could easily be that too.
Oh yeah, and it's like Catholicism is so beautiful. It's just once you get into this whole, it just becomes so egocentric. Where you know all these people in church praying, looking at each other, judging each other, talking shit, and it just becomes this whole.
And that's our experience.
Yeah, that's my experience. It just becomes a mess. And one of my huge issues with, and it's not even the church, it was with my parents, is that they left their family for the church. So they put the church first. And I understand a lot of people, it's God first and your family, but they put God and the church. The church is like all the people, all their church activities, all of them before us. So for me, it was just really hard because I felt that I raised my siblings. I literally raised my siblings. I raised myself because my parents were in church. But also on that note, I also understand it's like my dad used church like his AA. Like he used that as his support to stay sober. And so I see that, and then I also see how it was very important for both of them to do that process. But for me, many years, I just blamed the church blamed the church for not having my family, and also for taking away my parents, because it's just really annoying. Because like on Sundays we go to church, we would sing blah blah blah. After church, everybody just crowds to my mom, to my parents, and I would like. So then once I started driving, I'll drive myself to church, and I'd be like, let's go, and I would just take the kids and we'd leave, because then they would just be there like they'd just be there everybody's all over them, fangirling them. And
that's so insane, because I loved that.
Really?
Because the thing is, it was different. Your relationship with your parents was different with my relationship with them, because when they had me, or when they saw me, or when I was birthed, I was like, to them,
Oh my God,
and then
yes.
I did everything in my power to be good.
Oh my God, yes.
That's how my people pleasing was super hardcore, I think, amplified. They fed it. I mean, I was so little, but I just loved being with grandma. I loved being with all these people. I loved running around. I loved going to work with her. I wanted to go to work with her. I loved all the attention on me. I had always had the attention on me since I, outside, like, being the first grandchild, being the first daughter on both sides, and then as well as in this Catholic or in this church. I was
and then she was also not the first, but one of the first great grandkids.
Oh yeah,
and so everybody knew Nayeli. All my uncles and aunts loved her.
I was used to that at home, and I was used to that in her community. And grandma always had me like on this pedestal. Like I loved it there. I loved it there. And then I loved hanging out with the kids, and I just that was such a
oh my God.
Yeah. And so when I tell you that when you were doing, in your spirituality, you were exploring your spirituality, and then I was in this Catholic space that I did not get that treatment when I needed it. Like I did not get the support when I needed it.
When would you say that?
In high school.
Okay.
When I started, when they slashed my car and did all that, when I needed help.
Oh, that was
that
another
community
huge
was
one.
Gone.
Yeah, that was
And
huge.
that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm just the tokenized poor little brown Mexican girl, and they use the shit out of me. I'm exploited. You know what I mean? And that was such a what the fuck moment, because it wasn't just my school. It was the fact that my school was Catholic. That was the biggest thing for me. And then too, I was no longer engaging with the community. And then everything that was going on with grandma, I think she got laid off. By this fucking priest.
God, you're right.
Yeah.
So it was that 2017 year for everybody.
Okay.
Jesus love to Puerto Rico. Nayeli's tires were her windows were shot out. Her tires were slashed. The principal did nothing. My mom came and fought with the principal. We all fought with nothing. Nothing happened. Then my mom had moved to another church because this priest had fired her because they were just clashing. He went to that new church and he fired her from there. What else happened during that time? Had she? No, she had just gotten fired. Damn.
She had just gotten fired from her first church.
No, because she was she was 7 years at 6, 7 years.
Just gotten fired from. Oh my God. And so then it just put so many things in a whole different light that I had idolized, that I had carried so close in my heart.
Oh damn!
That was a part of my identity. That was all it was like the universe was like, okay, now look. Remember what I was talking about yesterday in one of the readings? They were like, okay, now look at who you are. Look at who you think you are. Now look at how that has nothing to do with you. That is not you. Ooh. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? And then too, I was looking at different schools, but then I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. And then I wanted religion for me. You said it. You said how it was this clear path. I loved that. For the longest time, I loved that clear path.
Damn.
You go down this road, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this.
That's crazy, and I hated that. And I hated that.
Well, now look at me.
Yeah, that's true. I hated that I was expected to be this person. I was expected to do all this. And I think that's why I acted out so much, right? That's why for me, it was a necessity to break all the rules. It was a necessity to do the opposite that I was told to. But I wouldn't do it out in the open. I would do everything hidden, right? I was like 15 and I had my little brother with me at the pool hall, right? So it's like I would do all these crazy things but everybody would know, but you know. But damn, that's one of the things I hated. I hated that path. That was
all I knew.
Damn.
Yeah, and I remember one of my tias asked me something about school, like college, and I think that I was in college when she asked me, and I was like, oh, well, I don't remember the context of the conversation, but I remember this came out of my mouth. I said, well, I liked school because it was a safety net, because that was all I knew, and I wanted to stay in school because that was all I knew. So trying to hold on to like the longest path, it was like just keeping myself safe.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was insane. It was super, super crazy.
That is crazy. So then going back to the church thing, so then for me, I was going back and forth in the church. During that time was the end of my last stunt in the church. So I went back to the church when I got back with your dad too. And for me, religion was helping me keep my marriage together, right? Yeah. So we were like all going to church, doing retreats, doing prayer things. Yeah. And we were I was just trying. So I held on to the church so hard to try to keep my marriage together.
Yeah. And while you were doing that, you were showing me how
to cling to
it, that the church is the guide. The church will save you. The church will give you whatever you need. The church will give you, I don't know, but there's like that rhetoric. But when I needed it, the church wasn't there.
Right, and same thing for me. It's like all the times that I really needed it during my, when I got pregnant, and then every time like Jesus would leave and come back, and then during my divorce, the church was never there.
And the church wasn't there for grandma. And I think that was the most insane thing ever. Like, that solidified it. And that rocked my world, because not only did I watch you do that, but I watched my grandma, who that's all I've ever known.
And that's all she's ever known.
Religion was her identity as well. Like, she taught me that. Yeah. Have nobody when she needed it. Damn. Be, like, pushed away. Like, that shit left me super unstable, like, with my religion. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And then, like, how can somebody like this woman, how could God do that to her? You know what I mean? And that's when that started.
No, and then the way, it was so crazy. And the priest who did it, too, it was, like, so, that same priest, we had so many issues with him, too, in our personal life, right? Because, so he fired my mom twice. But then he was also really, really good friends with
my dad's mom.
So then it's just crazy how that whole interaction. So on one side, he was really good.
Idolized. And on one side, he was the villain. Yeah. It's like, wait. What the fuck is my life right now?
God. Oh, there was something I was going to say about that, but se me fue el avión. Damn, that is crazy.
So then that whole experience for me, I was just starting to be filled with, I started recognizing the anger that was in me, because I'm being used at school. I no longer have a safe space.
It's because on top of that, in school you were really good. You were really smart. You had straight A's. She was really good public speaker.
At school, I had the environment where
of grandma.
Yeah, at the church. So. Oh, that was them, huh? Okay.
Them, or else they're over here. They're doing some crazy ass shit too.
They are.
In the middle of the night, they were over there.
I hear it. Locos. I know. Anyways, so the environment that I grew up in the Catholic Church with my grandma was the same kind of environment that I had built.
That you built
at my high school.
You were grandma in high school.
Yeah, I was. Damn. So when that shit happened to me, I was starting to get angry and bitter. bitter because I wasn't able to recognize my anger, and so I would just like shit on everybody. I like shut down. I quit my clubs that I was in. I was president, so I had to stay.
But I didn't know you quit everything.
Yeah, I said no to the moments that they needed me to speak, and they were even so confused about that. They're like, "Oh my god!" I remember being pulled out of class like twice because I refused to speak during one of their biggest auctions, and they were like, "Why aren't you doing it, bitch? Now you want something from me?
No, but
you were not there when I needed you."
What I remember, because that was I think when I was most shut down. But I really remember being like, fuck this school. You don't have to do shit for them. Don't do shit for them. The girls aren't coming here. You're only going to stay here because you have to graduate.
Yeah, bet.
And I was like, fuck this shit. Bet. And no, and even like, they were really pushing, and even Sophia was pushing to go there because they really sell the school, right?
They do.
And I was like, over my dead fucking body. Oh, hell no. Me and the were like, hell no. Because even now, they still go to a Catholic Jesuit school, but it's another one. But it's like this, it's a white school. And they have so much more opportunities, so much more resources,
money,
classes, money, and we pay way less than what I paid at your school. Which at her school, what I realized is like they totally used and abused them because they would work. They would work once a week, and it was like it was made to be like, oh my god, they're learning all these job skills and they're learning all this stuff for the future. And it's like, really, you're making little high schoolers fucking work? You're making high schoolers fucking work. Brown little high schoolers work.
It's so bad.
So now I'm like, fuck, and it just sucks because it's catered to the Latino community, the Mexican community, and it just makes me so sad because it just sucks. It just sucks. But to each their own. We learned, and never again.
We learned the hard way, bro.
Yeah,
the hard way. Yeah. So yeah, at that point, I was just fucking angry, angry at my school, angry at being exploited, and angry at religion, angry at God, angry at Jesus, angry at the church, angry because of everything that was going on, and I was just so confused because of where like. I had this mentality too. It's like, why do bad things happen to good people? Like religion, but it wasn't just religion. It was like spirituality. At that point, I was having like a whole.
Oh, really?
I don't know what is going on right now.
I was more church, Catholic church.
Well,
for me, it's always been Catholic church.
Yeah.
Because this is one of my big moments, and another one. I have so many with the church and my parents. And then I correlate them, like when I was like church.
Oh, okay.
My parents even won a papal award. They won this huge award. The whole Denver community was there. It was like everybody, right? And I remember my mom got up there and she's like, I just want to thank my community. I want to thank everyone who helped us, blah, blah, blah. This big old speech thanking everyone but her children. And I was so pissed off because I was like, you sacrificed your fucking children. You couldn't even say thank you to us?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so me and the siblings were just like,
damn.
Whatever.
Wow. Have you guys ever talked about that?
Never.
You guys should talk about that.
I should.
You should talk about that because that is really fucked up.
Yeah, she won't admit it, but I should talk to her about it. But yeah, so that was one of my it just sucked because yes, it was a great accomplishment for her, but I think for me it just threw in my face how, again, she put the church in front of us.
And didn't see the problem with it.
And didn't see the problem with it.
And then
they wonder why we came out so
awkward. Zero to trauma. Yeah. So then, correct me if I'm wrong, but at that point you were angry at the church. But then, were you? I
was angry at the church. So then, this when you were little, but like I went back and forth. So I think it just depended on how my relationship was. When it got really bad, I would cling more to the church, and so I think the last time I went to church faithfully.
Wait, hold on. So you explained that. You did say that you would cling to the church. Did you say why?
So it was more like, oh my God, help me save my relationship. Just clinging to God.
But did you really truly believe that? Like, was it really that? Or was it more like, okay, well, this is what I was taught, like you going back to your conditioned self that says, well, if you pray to God, then you get what you want, or I don't know.
I guess it was more like, for me, I think for us, it was more like, because he would always, my ex would always come back and be like, oh my God, Bible thumping again. I love Jesus. Yeah. I love God. Let's go to church. So I felt like in order for him to stay in line, we had to keep going to church, and that would help him be good. It was more like that.
And he does that. Yeah.
It's
he
a
does
cycle.
cling to church. Yeah. But I think that there's something comforting. I think it's that spirituality. I think that...
Oh, you think he still does that now?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember... Yeah. I remember when he first came back into my life, because I remember I didn't talk to him for like a while, a long time. I don't know if it was the year part. I don't remember. But I didn't talk to him for a long time. He came to pick up the girls. I decided to come out. And then like that was the first time we actually talked in so long. And he was like, yeah, I went to church and I prayed to God. Like I went to the chapel and I prayed to God. And I think that I think that
it's like the foundation maybe that we go back to what we know. I think it's that we go back to what we know and what we think works. Or what we are taught. But then we go
back to the spirituality part. Because he didn't go to church. He went to the chapel to pray to God. He didn't go to mass, which is different. He didn't go to the community.
He goes like by himself to go and pray to God.
He went to what he knew is rooted in the religion, which would be the chapel. You know, like that's how you go. That's how you pray to God, because there's a sacred space. But at the end of the day, it was about him and God. It wasn't about him and the community.
Right, and we are taught that God is there.
Right. So then the basis. Okay, but listen. You keep trying to pull it into what you know. Listen. The basics of religion, you know, if you strip away from the community, the community and the bullshit it is, or whatever, you know what I mean, okay? If you just strip it out to the core, you're taught that yes, God is outside of you, but that to build a relationship with God, right? To pray to God, and that is a good point. That you are taught that God is outside of you. That is such a good fucking point. And actually, Jesus, there's a fucking... Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. But I think that there's something very real, raw, genuine in you to a certain extent, because I don't know how much you really did this, but Dad, going back to the roots, going back to, I'm going to pray to God. And I think it's just this feeling of knowing, you know, of knowing and having faith and trusting and your subconscious to some level, understanding that there's something bigger than you, or that there's something beautiful, you know, like there has to be some kind of spirituality. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I don't know if I'm finding.
Well, yeah, I think I understand you when you said, like, I always knew there's something more than just me. There's something more out there. There's a higher power. I always knew that. I was never 100% sold on the fact that, you know, that it was Jesus, that it was God, that it was a man, and he had these rules, and that's where I would always get into like arguments with my parents about, like, you know, because especially with my relationship, I'd be like, well, this is happening. I need to get divorced. And I'm like, no, that's your cross. You carry it. You carry your cross. So then I always knew there was a higher power. So then I would be like, okay, well then, you know what? Higher power, help me, because I can't get through this. I can't do this alone. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I think that going back to what you said, what we talked about is like, we were taught in the church that God is outside of us, when in reality,
it's
we are
within
God.
you.
We have that power.
Yeah. And I was reading how there's this, that Jesus said that. Jesus said that he said that he is God, right? And he came down and he does all these beautiful miracles or whatever. And that with the Holy Ghost, we are able to be like him. But to, like, deeper than that, we become him. With the Holy Spirit, we become him. With the Holy Spirit, we become more God-like. And whatever, but they don't teach that. They don't talk about that.
No, because they want you to go. It's the organized religion, right? They want you to go to these places, to these buildings, to pay your tithe, to do all this, and to ask them for help, because it's a power and control and money. Like then it comes into this whole patriarchal, colonized system that exploits spirituality.
Oh my God.
Right, God. Because now, so then, you know, we both had all our traumas, and I think after that you hadn't gone into a church for.
I don't think I've gone into a church.
Well, you went for the funeral.
Oh yeah, that was the last time I went to the church. Okay.
So, but you've gone into a church, but I think it's not.
It's not the same. Like I used to avoid, and whenever somebody would bring it up, I'd be like, "What the?" And then the whole, because I was starting college and I was learning about the patriarchy and I was learning about all that shit. I was like, all these white men, are you kidding me? That shit. So anger. So I would avoid it 100%. Continue. You can continue.
Okay, and I avoided it as so much too. But for me, it wasn't the patriarchy and the white men and all. For me, it was the parents, right? Fuck my parents. Fuck the church. Look what the church did. Look what the church took away from me.
Look what the church took away from me. That part.
Yeah.
That is so profound. I'm so sorry that you went through that.
But
I'm glad that you're able to see it now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're not blaming the church anymore.
Right.
And you're like blaming your parents.
They didn't know any better. They didn't know any better. Like now I just see they didn't know any better. For them, it was like, I think it was the only way to keep my dad sober. And so I kind of did the same thing.
And so to my dad.
Right, to keep your dad. I thought that in order to keep your dad in line, we had to stay in the church.
And dad thought that in order to be happy or in order to get what he needed, he clung to the church. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that was wrong. Right? There's no right or wrong, right? But I don't think that you guys or grandma and grandpa or whatever were doing what you shouldn't have been doing. I think that somewhere deep down your subconscious knew. And even then, when you take a few steps back, there's beauty in praying to God, because you're just being in stillness.
Oh yeah. So now, that's how I see it when I go to church. I just think it's just so beautiful. I was like, I'll take all the blessings where I can get them. Right. I will still go get Holy Communion because it's a blessing. They're blessing me. I will take that blessing. Yeah. If it's my dad's a deacon, so when my dad does the what is it? Like when he does his prayers and he does his sermons. I love it. I listen.
And they are very beautiful.
They're beautiful. I'll take it. But I don't believe. And even when we do the prayers, I'll do the prayers, but they're not prayers to their God, right? It's just prayers to God in general, to God. God is creator. And so now I just see it in a way of, I just take it as spirituality.
Yeah, that part. You try to find the spirituality that's embedded into it. I mean, that's what I do at least.
Right. And I don't go in there fighting. I don't go in there. No, I just go in there and take.
Yeah. Well, I haven't, sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're fine.
I haven't been in that environment in a long time, so I can't say that's what I do
because you didn't go with me to Christmas, huh?
I didn't go, what?
To Christmas Mass last year?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I actually really didn't. I stayed home.
Yeah.
So at that
point,
grandma's. Last year, I wasn't ready.
And then the girls went with their dad.
Yeah, that's so true.
You didn't go with your dad either?
We were fighting.
Oh.
We weren't talking. Yeah, so last year, I was still very no thank you. I don't believe in that. That's not my religion. But now I think, maybe I'll give it a try. I don't know. Let's not push it, okay? But this is another thing that was very heavy for me, was when I came out and going into those spaces, I just felt so uncomfortable. People would stare. I just felt, and I wasn't comfy in my skin yet. So I was just hyper aware of the people that
oh my God, they're looking at me. Oh my God, they're looking at me. I'm like, of course they're going to look at you.
Yeah, so I, just to keep myself safe, wanted to avoid those.
One, they're going to look at you because you're Socorrito's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Two, they're going to look at you because you're standing next to her.
Yeah.
And everybody looks at my mom.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how it's changed? Now I'm like, I don't want it. But because it's different, they're not seeing me like, oh my God, you're Socorrito's granddaughter. They're like, you're Socorrito's granddaughter? You know what I mean? Are you even a girl? So it was like a lot for me at that time. So now, and it's like, I think I'm at that point where they're like, okay, well now you've learned what you needed to learn, now go apply it. That fucking, I love that parable so much.
And it's so beautiful because at the end of the day, it's all love, right?
What?
It's all love.
What are we talking about?
It's all about love.
Oh, it's all about love. Yeah.
So it's like, if you're all, if we preach all this stuff, if we preach all this stuff and then we walk into a church all hateful, it's like, who looks bad there? Who's the one doing bad?
Yeah.
We're like cursing ourselves.
Yeah.
All right, so I go in there, I get the holy water, and
I haven't been in there.
I love the songs. I love it because it's like, and then also it's like our ancestors, like their praise songs, their gospel songs, and so they're over there all,
hey, getting that
Alabaré al Señor toda mi vida. So it's like, it's just beautiful, right? Because it's not, I don't know. I don't see it like that anymore. I don't see everything I lost, but I just see the beauty of it. I don't go to church every Sunday. Of course not. I don't go to church. I don't go to church. But when I'll go with my parents, like I think for me it was really beautiful last Christmas to go with my parents and go, especially after my mom's illness. And then she was doing a lot better. And it was me and my brother. It was just really nice to be there with the parents. So, I'll cherish those moments. And I think this year, my sister's going to be here for Christmas. So maybe we can all go. It's totally up to you.
But we have the fucking thing. So.
It's at 10 in the morning.
The Sweat Lodge?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So we were laughing because we have Sweat Lodge on Christmas Eve in the morning. And then Nayeli's like, yeah, I understand we don't do the colonizer holidays, but...
We're already assimilated. Cut us some slack. Give us a warning or something. But if that was just me talking because I wasn't able to spend Thanksgiving with the family. Yeah. So I was like, damn, they're going to rob me of this? Because I would 100% take the Sweat Lodge over.
Exactly.
No offense to the family.
Right.
But was because, no, I don't know. You're putting me at a crossroads. Anyways. Alabaré, alabaré, alabaré.
Alabaré, Señor, toda mi vida. And don't you think too, for you, like when you went to the funeral mass and you saw the grandparents there, don't you think that was just so beautiful too?
It was really beautiful.
And then just like all the singing and the praising, and that's the way like I see it as an offering too. Like all those songs and stuff, it's an offering to them. It's a praise to them.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so beautiful.
I do too. I just haven't been in that environment in a long time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's like what I'm saying. Like I can't speak on it that much. Like I'm back and I love it and I praise them. No. I see them with respect.
Right.
No longer anger.
Yes.
And I think that that's a really big.
That's huge. And it's not about being back. Because you're never going to be back. You're never going to go back to that whole mentality. We're not going to have that colonizer mindset. We're not going to have that religious, that organized religion spirit mindset at all either. Yeah. And we're never. I'm never. That's like even like me, like I love Our Lady Fatima, Our Lady Guadalupe, La Virgencita. I love her. But then I see her, but then I also see Tonantzin, right? And so then I see our indigenous gods and our indigenous roots in it, especially because as Mexicans, when the Spaniards came, they colonized all our indigenous beliefs, all our indigenous gods. All the churches and stuff were built on top of our temples. So then that's the other thing. It's like I want to really go down to Mexico and to like El DF and stuff, to go to these beautiful cathedrals and stuff, but to honor our temples, right? To honor our indigenous roots, because on top of all of that is they were built on sacred sites. I think at the end it's just with religion, but with everything, maybe make peace. Look for the good in it, but then also want to acknowledge that not just in religions, but in every place there's always like all the bad and all these bad peoples, and like all the church has gone through so much with all the pedophile cases and all the freaking priests and all the cover-ups. So we do not condone that. We do not condone. Is that condone? So it's like we do not support that. That is 100%. They should all be in jail, and there should not all those cover-ups and stuff. But
especially of the Native children.
Oh, and then all the deaths of the Native children. So it's like we do not support any of that. And I think that's why one of the main reasons also that it's like religion to me, it doesn't call, right? It doesn't. I don't support it in that way. So yes. How do I say that?
I think that it's different honoring like Jesus Christ and Mary and all these beings that you grew up listening to than the church. Like, that's different. Right. Because I guess like the community, the church, that has, oh my God, I totally forgot about all that shit.
I know. I was like, shoot, we didn't even touch on that.
Down with the system.
And that's what it goes back to. It's like all these systems and stuff, and they're just set to protect all these people in power. But then all these people, because the church is a big time power. The Catholic Church is a huge power.
It really is. Remember what we were talking about? They have the emerald tablets and all that bullshit. They've been here for years. God,
they have the instructions
and fear.
They have the instructions for that little cube that's hidden in one of that they got from one of the pyramids. That it's like the key to the pyramids, that crystal that you put in and it'll show everything.
Damn, I don't know what you're talking about, but this is sounding very much like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So they have all of that, and it's just why? Because of power, control, and money. And so it's like, I don't, and like for me, I remember growing up, there was this one, he was a brother, like a nun, but they're called brothers. And so I remember him, there was some questionable activity, and then they moved him churches, but then when we would try to talk about it, nobody would talk about it. So that was my only experience, but I just think there's
so much hidden.
So much. And I think the church does need to take a look, deep dive, and clean house and get rid of all these people. But at the end of the day, you know what? They're not going to do it. So what we can do, and it's like, and I know a lot of people are like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, you can.
Normalize talking about
Talk about it. Don't support them.
Don't give them money.
You know, and
but I think the most important is talking about it. Because people don't want to talk about it because that shit's gross, that shit's heavy, because of I don't know what to do about. Talk about it. Whether it's like sharing a fucking post. Honestly, that makes a lot because you're normalizing conversation over it, and that's just how we've operated now. That's the new fucking system is social media. So use it, but normalize conversation, especially in your communities, because that's where it starts.
And I think as parents, one of the big things is do not leave your children alone there. Go walk with them to the bathroom. You know, don't, if they're in catechism, stay around or make sure all the teachers have background checks and like all those little things that as parents, as aunts and uncles, is that stuff that you can do, right? If you guys are in the church.
And normalize conversation with your children about things that are appropriate and things that are not appropriate.
Because it's just, at the end of the day, we just have to protect our kids, protect our children, and talk.
Yeah.
Get the word out.
Yeah.
Protect the families.
I respect the religion. I respect Catholicism in the sense of like Jesus Christ is the Son of God and na. But fuck the church. Actually, now, like the community,
right?
The system.
I don't.
The structure.
So for me, I don't respect the church at all. I respect the spiritualism of the church.
Okay.
So I guess the word you use is religion.
I think.
But I don't really respect the religion. But I respect God. I respect Jesus Christ. But I see him as a divine manifestation of a ascended master. I respect that. I respect all the santos. I totally 100% respect them. And I respect the beautiful, the beauty, the sacredness of the ceremony. I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah.
And I respect the people who are 100% devoted to God and to this work. Like there's some, oh my God, there's some beautiful love. There's some beautiful spiritual people that work in the church. Like my dad's one of them. He's super spiritual and he's amazing. It's beautiful spiritual people who are devoted to their religion. But then there are these nasty ass people who also work in the church and I don't respect them.
Yeah. I think it's time to unveil all their.
Yeah, so be ready. I'm coming for you.
Down with the system. We're making new paradigms up in this. Okay. Cool. Leaving you with so much love.
Yes. Love. All you need is love.
Yeah, sorry for ending it so intense.
I know, I was like, damn.
But for real, fuck the church. Fuck the system.
It's the
system.
It's the system.
Okay?
Espérate, Lola.
Give back the land and burn down the church.
And love. And follow us on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, we already said it.
Oh, okay.
Bye, love you.
Bye.